This is a special episode of the Action Lab. Today we are going to explore an apple pie from every country in the world. So let's get started. Let's start with the obvious one. The United States has many famous apple pies, but I chose this one because it looks the most like a normal apple pie. But there is still a very important difference. Let me show you. Here is the recipe for this pie. The first ingredient is not apples. It is something else. You can't make an American apple pie without it. If you guessed what it was, you are right. It is McDonald's. They created this pie in 1983, and when you look at the ingredients, they are all pretty typical for an apple pie. It even uses cinnamon, which is kind of surprising because McDonald's rarely uses spices in their food. The filling has been described as having a good balance between sweet and sour. And if you watch these videos often, you know that I love sour things. The crust is also very flaky and well seasoned. Overall, this pie is everything you would want from an apple pie. But keep in mind, it only really tastes good when it is fresh out of the oven. So if you buy a slice from McDonald's, it might not taste very good. But if you make it yourself, it will be amazing. And even though it does have some similarities to other apple pies, it does have some very unique characteristics. The thing that sets it apart from other apple pies is the way it is made. This pie is baked in a special aluminum pie pan that McDonald's designed specifically for baking this pie. This allows the heat to spread more evenly throughout the pie, so it cooks faster and more evenly. This is important for McDonald's because they need to be able to cook these pies quickly in order to serve a large number of customers. So overall, I think this is a great representation of what an apple pie should taste like. It is sweet, sour, and has a nice flaky crust. It is definitely worth trying if you have never had it before, and I will give it a thumbs up. First, let me tell you about the name. It translates to apple in its water. I think that is a very interesting name because it makes it sound like the apples are swimming in a pool of water. Sounds boring, right? But this dish is anything but boring. It is a delicious combination of sweet and sour flavors with a hint of spice. The apples are cooked in their own juices along with chopped onion, cilantro, lemon peel, and a pinch of salt and pepper. This mixture is then simmered until the apples are soft and slightly thickened. But the best part of this dish is the topping. It is made with chopped walnuts and sesame seeds that are toasted in butter and sprinkled over the apples. This adds a nice crunch and a rich, toasty flavor to the dish. The finished result is a warm, comforting bowl of apple goodness that is perfect for a cozy night in RH. So I think this dish is very cool, and I will give it a thumbs up. Now let's go to France. France is known for its delicious pastries, and apple pie is no exception. One of the most famous French apple pies is tarte tatin. This pie is named after two French sisters who owned a hotel and restaurant in the town of La Motte-Bouvron. They were famous for making this pie and serving it to their guests. And I bet this pie tasted so good because the recipe is super interesting. The first step is to caramelize the apples. This means cooking them slowly over low heat until they release their juices and become beautifully browned. Once the apples are caramelized, they are layered in a pie pan with a little bit of butter. Then the dough is placed over the apples and the whole thing is baked in the oven. The result is a pie with a golden-hued crust that is filled with sweet, caramelized apples. And since the apples are caramelized, this pie has a very unique flavor that is both sweet and savory. That sounds amazing. And just look at the beautiful caramelized apples inside. Overall, I think this is a really cool take on apple pie, and I will give it a thumbs up. Next, let's go to China. China is a huge country with a long history and tradition of cooking. They have all kinds of delicious foods, but one of my favorites is Chinese apple pie. This pie is a bit different from the ones we have seen earlier. It is not made with regular apples, but with a special type of apple called pears. These are small, tart, juicy apples that grow in the mountains of China. They are often used to make preserves, jams, and of course apple pie. Chinese apple pie is usually made with a flaky, buttery crust and filled with thinly sliced pears. The pears are sweetened with sugar and spiced with cinnamon and cloves. Then it is all baked together in the oven. The result is a pie with a golden brown crust that is filled with juicy, aromatic pears. This pie is very popular in China, and it is often served during special occasions like weddings and festivals. The flavor of this pie is a unique blend of sweet, sour, and spicy. The yappies add a tartness that balances out the sweetness of the sugar, and the spices add a warmth that makes it extra comforting. Overall, I think this is a very interesting take on apple pie, and I will give it a thumbs up. Alright, let's move on to India. India is a country with a rich culinary history, and apple pie is no exception. There are many different types of apple pies in India, but one of the most popular is the Kashmiri apple pie. This pie is a delicious fusion of European apple pie and traditional Kashmiri flavors. It is often made with a flaky pastry crust and filled with sweet and sour apple slices. The filling is flavored with cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves, and the top is usually decorated with a lattice crust or a dusting of powdered sugar. What I really like about this pie is the unique blend of flavors. The apples are both sweet and sour, and the spices add a warmth that is really inviting. The cardamom is especially prominent in this pie, and it adds a unique depth of flavor that I really enjoy. Overall, I think this is a really cool take on apple pie, and I will give it a thumbs up. Well, that's it for today. We've tried apple pies from all over the world, and they were all delicious in their own way. Some were sweet, some were sour, and some had unique spices and flavors. I really enjoyed learning about all the different types of apple pies out there, and I hope you did too. Thanks for watching.